So this is very exciting for me, and I'm sure for all of you, to see this man workshop here at the Comedy and Magic Club, which is just great. We're very lucky to have him here. Please welcome George Carlin, everybody. George Carlin.
One of the few comedians who requires more stage setup than the magicians. And this is somewhat experimental, so we'll find out a little about what I need on stage at another time. Thank you for coming here. Thank you. I appreciate that. I'm a modern man, a man for the millennium, digital and smoke-free. A diversified, multicultural, postmodern deconstructionist, politically, anatomically, and ecologically incorrect. I've been uplinked and downloaded, I've been inputted and outsourced. I know the upside of downsizing, I know the downside of upgrading. I'm a high-tech lowlife, a cutting-edge, state-of-the-art, bi-coastal multitasker, and I can give you a gigabyte in a nanosecond. A new wave, but I'm old school, and my inner child is outward bound. I'm a hot-wired, heat-seeking, warm-hearted, cool customer, voice-activated and biodegradable. I interface with my database. My database is in cyberspace, so I'm interactive, I'm hyperactive, and from time to time, I'm radioactive. Behind the 8 ball, ahead of the curve, riding the wave, dodging a bullet, pushing the envelope. I'm on point, on task, on message, and off drugs. I got no need for coke and speed. I got no urge to binge and purge. I'm in the moment, on the edge, over the top, but under the radar. A high-concept, low-profile, medium-range ballistic missionary. A streetwise smart bomb. A Top Gun bottom feeder. I wear power ties, I tell power lies, I take power naps, I run victory laps. I'm a totally ongoing Bigfoot slam dunk rainmaker with a proactive outreach. A raging workaholic. A working rageaholic. Out of rehab and in denial. I got a personal trainer, a personal shopper, a personal assistant, and a personal agenda. You can't shut me up, you can't dumb me down, because I'm tireless and I'm wireless. I'm an alpha male on beta blockers. I'm a non-believer and an overachiever, laid back but fashion forward. Up front, down home, low rent, high maintenance. Supersized, long-lasting, high-definition, fast-acting, oven-ready, and built to last. I'm a hands-on, footloose, knee-jerk head case, prematurely post-traumatic, and I have a love child who sends me hate mail. But I'm feeling, I'm caring, I'm healing, I'm sharing. A supportive, bonding, nurturing, primary caregiver. My output is down, but my income is up. I take a short position on the long bond, and my revenue stream has its own cash flow. I read junk mail, I eat junk food, I buy junk bonds, I watch trash sports. I'm gender-specific, capital-intensive, user-friendly, and lactose-intolerant. I like rough sex, I like tough love. I use the F word in my email, and the software on my hard drive is hardcore, no soft porn. I bought a microwave in a mini mall. I bought a minivan in a mega store. I eat fast food in the slow lane. I'm toll-free, bite-sized, ready to wear, and I come in all sizes. A fully equipped, factory-authorized, hospital-tested, clinically proven, scientifically formulated medical miracle. I've been pre-washed, pre-cooked, preheated, pre-screened, pre-approved, pre-packaged, post-dated, freeze-dried, double-wrapped, vacuum-packed, and I have an unlimited broadband capacity. I'm a rude dude, but I'm the real deal. Lean and mean, cocked, locked, and ready to rock. Rough, tough, and hard to bluff. I take it slow, I go with the flow, I ride with the tide, I got glide in my stride. Driving and moving, sailing and spinning, jiving and grooving, wailing and winning. I don't snooze, so I don't lose. I keep the pedal to the metal and the rubber on the road. I party hardy, and lunchtime is crunch time. I'm hanging in, there ain't no doubt, and I'm hanging tough, over and out. As it was tonight, that was also the opening piece in the last HBO show that I did, the most recent, I should say, not the last. But, well, we'll find that out. But the most recent, back in November, my 13th HBO show in 28 years, I'm proud of that shit. I'm the fucking champ. And that show was a lot of fun, but a lot of sweat. I was sick all last year. Kind of in an increasingly so, sick with heart failure. That's an interesting thing to have. I always thought heart failure was a thing that happened to you, you know, like an event, but it's not. It's a condition. and it means that your heart isn't pumping at its best full efficiency, and you store up a lot of fluids, you know. And I had a lot of fluids, and my breath was short, and I was all that, trying to learn that shit, you know, for that show. I did 75 minutes, so it was tough, but I finally got through it all, and everything was cool. The show was fine. I'm happy with that. Could have been better if I wasn't sick. But anyway, I went in the hospital, and I pissed out 15 pounds of body weight. How about that? So if you're ever looking for one of them quick weight loss diets, never mind Jenny Craig, you take you a good long piss, okay? That's my advice. But I'm doing fine now. I don't need the operation. I thought I was going to have, what do they call it? Valve surgery, but I don't need it yet. Also, I'm 17 months sober, and I'm really fucking tense, okay? I'm really fucking tense. Okay, the applause part of the show is over. It's time for you to get judgmental. I don't know how they advertised this show, or so to speak, advertised, because you know they don't advertise them, they do them over their email. But this is what I call workshop, okay? I'll be doing the work, but it is kind of workshop. I'm going to be reading some things, besides a few things I know. But they're all new thoughts, all new things, new stuff I've been working on, some of them for a long time. Am I interrupting someone's fun? Oh, okay, I'm sorry. Where was it? I believe I was right here. I believe I was right here. So anyway, I want to do some things for you that are fully formed. I don't try things out. I'm not trying things out on you. I really don't care if the audience likes my shit or not, you know. That's, yeah, I don't give a fuck. Who cares? Because the audience doesn't really figure into my plans. I look at it this way. I'm here for me, you're here for me, and no one's here for you. But the main thing is for me to hear new things. Before I learn them, these things have all been written and never been performed, obviously, never been memorized yet. But they have been gone over a lot of times on the computer. Some of them are very little pieces here and there, different things, you know, kind of potpourri, miscellany. And then there are a few thematic pieces, which I want to tell you about in advance so we can all look forward to them together. This was a group of things, I guess there's about 6 or 7 of them, a group of things I put together that eventually I called it the Flags and God Suite. Forgotten Country is a good way. These are the subtitles. Swearing on the Bible, please remove your hats. Flags on cars. Bernie's Flag Shop, God Bless America, the Rule of Law, and You Have No Rights. So I will be getting to them, but I thought I'd like to do a couple of little miscellany things first, so I'm going to sit on this. I'm going to make myself comfortable. I'll make myself comfy. And by the way, fuck Lance Armstrong, you know? Fuck him and his balls and his bike and his fucking... I don't give a shit. Who gives a fuck? You know, I am tired of being told who to admire in this country. Yeah. I'm tired of it. And fuck Tiger Woods while you're at it, too. Yeah. I'll pick my own heroes. And I never thought I would live long enough to say this. Never thought I would live this long. What's wrong with our kids today? When I was a young comedian, we made fun of the older comics because they used to lean on that kind of a theme a lot of the times, the older comics, and they'd all kind of do the same thing. They'd say, the kids today, you know, with the rock and roll. You can't understand the words. I mean, you know. So it worked for a while for them, but it was never to last very long for comedians. So we made fun of it, but I mean, really, what is wrong with our kids today? Since when? Since when does a 14-year-old boy who's managed to start fucking a reasonably good-looking teacher call the police about it? What kind of a message does that send to our grown-ups? 3 times he fucked her, then he called the police. Maybe the relationship just wasn't working out. But you know, when you're a 14-year-old boy, I mean, you're supposed to have a perpetual hard-on at a time like that. So you can understand if a little girl says, "Daddy, the science teacher fucked me in the ass." You can kind of understand that. You can kind of understand that complaint. And by the way, it's always a science teacher, isn't it? by the way, as a kind of reward for you putting up with my, not unpreparedness, but my lack of knowing these things. The problem with not knowing things from memory is, obviously, they lose all that smooth flow. And if you're putting your eyes on a paper, you know, you're not saying them as well. But I really have a lot of faith in these ideas, or I wouldn't be here with them, you know? So I want you to enjoy the ideas, even though the delivery will leave a little bit to be desired. But at the end, I have a few jokes to tell you. Regular, real jokes, the kind of jokes people tell each other down at the firehouse or wherever the fuck they're hanging around. I don't know where people hang around. This is something I did not... This is something I did not make up, but I just think it's so. There are two things I like to tell you I did not make up, but they're so good I want you to know. One guy said something like, and I wish I knew who these people are. I'd give him credit in a minute, but I just don't know. He said, Congress is the only whorehouse in America that loses money. And this is an old thing that's been around, but I just love it, and I don't hear enough people saying it or doing it. It's the definitions of heaven and hell. In heaven, the Italians are the lovers, the French cook the food, the Swiss run the hotels, the Germans are the mechanics, and the English are the police. In hell, the Swiss are the lovers, the English cook the food, the French run the hotels, the Italians are the mechanics, and the Germans are the police. What's great about some comedy's great because it's just mathematically perfect. It's really like certain forms of mathematics at times. That's what's fun, and that shit's just waiting to be discovered. You know, you don't really sit there and think things up. You just kind of notice shit and you put them together and you say, oh, that works. That fits with that. That go, oh, look at that. There's a contrast. You know, so it's all just dopey shit. And I haven't been doing much lately. I've been taking a little time off, kind of summertime off, a few weeks, months. Actually, I'm going to take a few months off. I like to keep sharp. I'm doing Leno next week, but that's really not the reason I'm here. I don't usually do that kind of thing. I'm just going to do that poem I did for you on Leno, so because I know that. If something else works out nice, I might use it on the panel, you know. But anyway, I haven't been doing too much lately. Just kind of going through my address book, calling out the losers and the dead people. Do you ever do that? Do you ever go through your address book and you notice that some of the people are dead? So you cross off their names. Yeah, but it's hard to do, isn't it? It really depends on how long they've been dead. I mean, you don't just come home from a funeral and say, let's see, Adams, Addison, Attlee, there he is. My rule of thumb is 6 weeks. If a guy's been dead 6 weeks, bam, out he goes. You know, you gotta have standards. Unless it's someone really close to me, then it's a little harder to do. If it's someone close to me, I usually give them an extension. I let them go an extra 6 weeks, but then, that's it. Time to move on, as they say in our society. One time I was cleaning out my desk, just cleaning out my desk, and I found an old scrap of paper with the guy's name and phone number on it, and it wasn't in my book. Here's what I did. I put his name and number in my book, I waited 4 weeks, and I scratched him out. I'm very thorough. Oh, here's an idea my brother had. This is nice. My brother has a couple of things I really love. One thing he said, doors will be closed, talking about politicians now, or corporations. Doors will be closed, cigars will be lit, brandy will be poured, and the people outside the door will suffer. Here's another one. He says, here's a good idea. You take all the mentally defective people in the country and you give them government jobs. Then you just sit back and watch things improve. Yeah, I'm a lot like my brother. I'm always trying to improve society. I don't know if you noticed this over the years, but it's one of my jobs, self-assigned. Kind of try and help. Excuse my not looking at you when I don't, but I'm gonna look here. And I sort of look that way anyway. It's little things to improve life, improve society. It's a new kind of shrink, new kind of therapist. Is called a profanity shrink. You go to him when something really bad happens in your life, and you tell him what's wrong. You tell him your problems, and he sits there and curses for you. Okay? You say, my wife left me. And he says, why, that fucking cunt? That goddamn slut, the nerve of her. I ought to kick her in the box. Well, you say, I lost my job. My boss fired me. He says, oh, that fat little prick again? Why, that dirty cocksucker, we ought to go down to his office and light his balls on fire. A profanity shrink. You pay him half as much as a regular shrink, and you only go to see him when something really big happens. Saves you a lot of anger. It's good for your blood pressure. Speaking of Tiger Woods, now, you know what they ought to do to improve golf? I would like, see, there's a lot of things I don't like golf, but I want to help. Maybe we could improve golf. You know what they ought to have in golf? Hecklers. That's what they're, you ever see these losers who follow the tournament around? They follow the fucking, they go from 18 holes on the big tournaments, the Masters, the Open, and they walk around and they're watching all the shit. Well, what you want to do is load these crowds up with hecklers. And I don't mean just ordinary hecklers. I'm talking about really rank motherfuckers. Hockey fans from Philadelphia. Red Sox fans who sit in the bleachers at Fenway. Okay? You can have a special X-rated golf tour. Not just heckling, filthy heckling. Good, loud, cruel, filthy heckling. No one would be harmed. I mean, after all, there you are outdoors in an isolated setting. And none of these fruity, oversensitive kids around. You just let it rip. Hey, Tiger, use the 9-iron, you fucking pussy. And the golfers could curse the ball, curse each other, and curse the hecklers. The X-rated golf tour, just one of my little contributions. I also think they should have taunting in golf. It's so very polite. There's a lot of fake mannerly shit in the golf. One of the reasons I don't like it, it's a full of shit game. With mostly full of shit people who play it, frankly. Well, you know, people say to me, don't you like it? I say, yeah, I really like the game, but it's the fucking people that get to it. But they should have taunting, like they do in basketball. They have trash talking. Golfers should be allowed to try to distract each other when they're trying to concentrate, you know? You know, some guy's lining up a 50-foot putt, he's leaning over the ball, and just as he starts his backswing, and you say, your mother licks my ass. I got a lot of good ideas. I think they should also have heckling in court. You're listening to something, good point, good point. Way to go. The judge sucks, stuff like that. Defense. That's what you want in court, a good defense. Or defense. We've allowed that word to become corrupted. My part in fighting obesity. I think we should tax the overweight. Call it the fat tax. For every ounce overweight, $10 extra on your tax. First of all, they take up more room than anybody else. And then there's the wear and tear on the sidewalks. It's a practical idea. Here's one you'll all agree with. I think every car should have an external indicator indicating the IQ of the driver. Then you know who to get behind at a red light. And this is nice. You know how you drive up to a parking meter, sometimes there's 8 minutes on it or 14 minutes? I think any time you find on a parking meter should be added to the end of your life. Wouldn't that be nice? And time spent on hold. Should go on the end of your life. You have to listen to that fucking music, you know? Go to get something out of it. Waiting for elevators. Nothing. Wasted downtime. Oh, you can talk on the cell phone. That's usually bullshit anyway. What are you doing? You know, deep conversations like that. The elevator's an interesting area. I've been I got a long piece on this I want to develop, but I'll just tell you the basic idea. The elevator is really an interesting place. First of all, there's elevator etiquette, as you know. You can't just walk in and stand backwards. Fucks them up. And you get very conscious of territory in an elevator. You know when you're on an elevator alone, you get on the 23rd floor, you get on alone, it's empty, and you kind of lean back, you know, you lean against the rails and shit. I got my own fucking elevator. Then it stops at 15. Yeah, shit. Somebody gets in, so you have to move over. You move over. It's a lot of room, but you always divide the territory. Another guy gets in, there's another small little ballet goes on. 3 people now, we gotta pass. Now a really fat lady with a kid gets on. Oh, shit, you know. And you don't want the kid, you don't near your fucking legs and everything. But there's an interesting thing about the elevator to me. It's the perfect microcosm of a really well-functioning democracy. Here you have a common space shared by people who don't know each other, and there's an unwritten laws, there are unwritten codes, everything is done civilly. They're shared, the space is shared in a practical fashion for the good of everyone. And then we get out of the elevator, all we're doing is fucking pushing each other around. I don't know how to say that yet, but that's the idea behind it. Now, good, all right. Here's how you save Social Security. You're gonna say this system's gonna go broke? Here's what you do. Stop giving money to people, that's the first thing. You don't need money, no. You know how you save Social Security? First, guy gets to be 65, turn him loose in the woods. In the fucking woods. Give him a knife and a gun, a couple of cans of mushroom soup, fuck it, that's it. That's all you need. If you live 65 years and you don't inhale yourself in the woods, tough titty, Kansas City. You got 64 years to prepare. Here's another idea I got on the energy crisis. You'll be hearing that shit this summer. They're talking about, the energy shortage, you're gonna cut down your air conditioners, and if you're not home, and they'll tell you there's gonna be rolling blackouts and rolling brownouts and all that. Here's what you do. You know what, they never think of this shit. You know how you solve the energy shortage? Batteries. You run everything on batteries. Big fucking batteries outside of every city. Nobody thinks of this shit. Rechargeables. You just plug them in and you never run out of juice. Education. I'm going to save you some money on education. You know what you do? First of all, you shouldn't be teaching the whole alphabet. All the letters are not used. You divide the kids in half. One half of the kids learns A through M. The other half of the kids learns N through Z. And at lunchtime, they talk to each other. They take care of it on their own. I'm always coming up with this shit, you know, but... what I got here? Oh, gay Boy Scouts, another so-called problem. What's the problem? Put them in the Girl Scouts. That's the fucking problem. There's no problem. I got a couple ideas I'm going to make money on. You know, I'm not all altruistic. I'll make $1 or $2 on this one. An adult donut shop. The donuts are the same, but the holes have hair on them. People would like that. People would love. The police would never leave the parking lot. Right next to the donuts, I'm going to have a hot dog stand for Gentiles. Hot dogs with foreskins. Yeah. You know, the kosher hot dogs are kind of plain looking. These would have nice little foreskins hanging off the end. The whole, you know, maybe you can even package the foreskins separately. You know, you can start marketing, you package this, you know, a bucket of foreskins. Give me a bucket of foreskins. Bucket of foreskins and a box of donut holes. I got, these are fucking good ideas. I hate to give them out like that. You know, sometimes these ideas, they just fucking leap out of my head. There's a dildo that squirts germs, but I don't know. Well, for people who have everything, except that. Oh, you gotta have something for the guys. Guys are always jealous. They want something. Here's what you get for the guys. You know the chia pet? The chia pussy. You see a little flower pot shaped like a pussy. You pour water on it, hair grows out of it. And you probably want to have edible plants for the hair. Then you got the whole item covered. You know, a nice Valentine's gift would make, wouldn't you? Give them one like that. Guys are always looking for a little something they can carry around with them. Interesting responses. This next thing is called interesting responses. You know, if somebody tells me some tragedy happened to them, you know, I don't react like everybody else. I try to be different. Guy says, my 2-year-old son died. I say, geez, that must be tough, huh? You must feel awful. Yes. Bet you wish there was something you could have done, huh? Do you feel guilty? Boy, I'm glad it wasn't me. I'd commit suicide if my kid died like that. I bet you get depressed from this. A lot of people go into a deep depression and they never recover. Say hello to your wife. If a guy says to me his wife was raped, I say, really? I wonder if she cooperated. They say if the woman cooperates and tries to enjoy it, sometimes the guy doesn't kill her. Do you think she enjoyed it? He killed her. Well, I guess she didn't enjoy that part. I kind of like that punchline too. Sensitivity, you gotta have sensitivity. You know what I've noticed about these people who say, what would Jesus do? Well, they don't really want to know what Jesus would do so they can do it. They just want to know in case it comes up in conversation. So they can tell you what Jesus would do. You know what I do sometimes? I drool in my sleep. You know, do you ever drool in your sleep? What the fuck, you're asleep, you might as well. Might as well drool. When else are you gonna drool? At a meeting? Hurricane season is here again, which is something I always look forward to. Notwithstanding the huge tragedy we had in the Gulf Coast, still shit that I enjoy. I love natural disasters. I'm a fan of nature. I'll explain that a little more to you later on in a thing that I actually know, a memorized thing. But this is what bothers me about these fucking hurricane seasons. You gotta watch CNN before it's even getting in. They know when it's coming. A lot of things you don't know. An earthquake you don't know. Tornado you got a minute or so. These fucking hurricanes, they got months, they got weeks, at least. They know, they're coming, the fucking thing's coming. And they show you guys buying plywood and shit. That's it. When these fucking people in hurricane country, especially Florida, why don't they make it a point to stock up on batteries and plywood and bottled water and canned goods about a month before the hurricane season begins? Then you don't have the fucking rush at the stores. You know, do it before the gouging storekeepers triple the price. I also noticed about hurricanes that are interesting. They form just off the coast of West Africa. They form off the coast of West Africa. They come all the way across the ocean, and they attack the south. That's the exact route the slave ships took. And the Caribbean too, because that was a big slave place. You know what's great about being a dog? You can just take a shit whenever you want. You have to take a shit? Go ahead. You stop, you take a shit, then you go on, you do what you were doing. You ever notice they go right back into another activity? It's great, you know? Nothing gonna happen. Okay, so somebody says, no, bad dog. Big fucking deal. If that's all they're going to say to me, I would take a shit in the street. No, George, bad George. Hey, I had to take a shit. What do you want from me? This is true. I actually saw a bumper sticker that said, don't abandon your baby. You know, people have to be reminded of this shit. And who's gonna be influenced by it? Now, you might reach the occasional person who's on his way home to pick up the baby and leave him out in the street, but I don't think there's a big audience for that kind of thing. Forced company. I hate forced company. I don't like being around people whose company I didn't choose. You know? I don't like forced company. I can't imagine anything worse than being in a fucking carpool. Jesus, oh, I'd rather walk to work. I'd rather buy a children's tricycle and trike to work. What torture that must be, huh? Having to sit with a bunch of other people. Even if you don't know them. Especially if you don't know them. You'd be thrown together all that time. Listen to all this shit. Hearing about their fucking wives and kids. Soccer game, the new barbecue pit, the neighbor's lawnmower. Thank God for solitude. You know? Thank God for just being alone. I love that. You know, would be really great to be in a coma. Think of it. Nobody's bothering you. You don't have anything to do. You crap out all day. No phone calls. Nobody dropping in unexpectedly. And if they do drop in, you're completely unaware of it. So you don't have to listen to their stupid shit. No kids running around making noise. Daddy, I want to go to the park. Just nice, peace, and quiet. Here's a little fun you can have. You call up Lost and Found and some public facility, like the Museum of Modern Art. You tell them that when you were there the week before, you think you left a bowl of noodles in the main gallery. Tell them it was ordinary egg noodles in a red china bowl. Tell them you don't really care about the bowl, but you like to get the noodles back. Here's what would be funny. If the guy came back on the phone, he said they did find a bowl of noodles, but it was a blue bowl. Or he said it's a red bowl, but just to be sure, he wants you to describe the noodles. Somebody's got to think of this shit. Apparently, I've been appointed. Here's a little fun. You go in a German restaurant and ask them if they have any chopsticks. It fucks them up for a minute. It's nice. You know what bothers me? People who don't know the conversation is over. They just stand there. They keep talking. And they don't understand. It's over. There's no more to say. They just stand there and they keep talking. Keep bringing up new subjects. You just want to get the fuck out of there. You're already leaning at a 45-degree angle. They're telling you my mother and father went to Alberta, Canada last year. Just get the fuck out of here. Same thing with people on the phone. They just keep talking and bringing up new fucking subjects. You're ready to hang up and they're saying, see, what are you doing next month? Are you going to the beach? I hate those fucking people. Here's something else that bothers me. When you're in a fast food place or something like that, people who stand in line and have their entire fucking family standing with them. You run into this shit at McDonald's or something? Big fat ass father, the huge mother, the 3 overweight pig children, including one in the stroller. They're standing on a fucking line with a stroller. They crowd up a line, and they can't decide what the fuck they want, you know? They're all standing there looking at the pictures and shit. No one gave a thought to perhaps knowing beforehand what you might want. And they never have the money ready. Oh, $1 or $1.95. Oh. What the fuck is that? My nose is starting to run, not for the old reason. Well, not for that. No, that got very expensive. And that's been out of the picture for a long fucking time. This is just ordinary allergic shit. Got that we're in that season. I am going to blow my nose. If that won't offend anyone, it's a little point of personal privilege. Hygienic thing, I'm going to blow my nose, and we'll talk about the phrase blow your nose in just a moment.
E flat.
Because you don't actually blow your nose. Do you? No, you don't blow your nose. You blow out through your nose. If you blow your nose, I believe they put you away. You might get someone else to blow your nose. But it would have to be a really good buddy. I'm probably drunk. There's a lot of things on cars, like we mentioned that bumper sticker. I can't figure some of these things out. Here's one I see, proud to be an American. I don't understand this whole notion of ethnic pride. Proud to be Irish. Black pride, Puerto Rican pride. Seems to me that pride should be reserved for accomplishments, things you attain or achieve, not things that happen to you by chance. Being Irish isn't a skill. It's genetic. You wouldn't say, I'm proud to have brown hair. I'm proud to be short and stocky. Why should you say you're proud to be Irish? I'm Irish all the way. Father was born there, but I'm not particularly proud of it. Just glad. Oh. Speaking of other countries, Iran is going to build nuclear weapons, which will make it the second Muslim country with an atomic bomb. Pakistan was the first. so the Muslims have the bomb. India also has the bomb, and India is 80% Hindu, so the Hindus have the bomb, which is kind of scary because Hindus believe in reincarnation. So they have nothing to fucking lose. And let's not forget that Israel, a Jewish state, also has the bomb. So Muslims, Jews, and Hindus all have the bomb. And so do Protestants. England and the United States are both Protestant countries, so there's a Protestant bomb, a Jewish bomb, a Muslim bomb, and a Hindu bomb. You know who doesn't have the bomb? The Catholics. There's no Catholic bomb. You know why? Because Vatican City is too small for testing nuclear weapons. You know, you would screw up the art collection. You need space to develop a fucking bomb, like Russia or China. Now, even though Russia and China are considered atheist countries, they have strong religious traditions, too, you know? I mean, Russian Orthodox religion is very influential in their culture, and in China, it's Buddhism. It's sort of odd to think of the Buddhists as having nuclear weapons, you know? But in honor of the Buddhist bomb, I'd like to come up with a new Zen koan that I've written. If the last bomb on Earth explodes and there's no one there to hear it, does it make a sound? Probably not. Now, if all the major religions have the bomb, it won't be long before we have private atom bombs. Privately owned nuclear weapons. We already have private armies, right? Militias, mercenaries, large security companies that work for American companies overseas. They're really nothing more than private armies. So it's only natural that eventually we will have private ownership of the bomb. And believe me, everybody's going to want one. Corporate prestige will be at stake. Bomb envy. I think the first company to get their own bomb will be Disney. And if Disney gets the bomb, they'll probably do with it what we did in this country, put Goofy in charge of it. Maybe it's Dumbo or Dopey, I don't know, one of those characters. Anyway, the Disney bomb will quickly lead to the Time Warner bomb, which will probably be called the Time Bomb. Walmart will get one, they'll buy it from China. Sears, Albertsons, Home Depot can build their own. Apple Computers will have a bomb that's real easy to use. Nike, Anheuser-Busch, Toys R Us, Campbell Soup, they'll all have the bomb. But never mind corporate bombs. What I'm interested in is small, portable nuclear weapons that can be carried in a suitcase. That's gonna be a lot of fucking fun. You know, when they can really fit those things into suitcases. Thanks to the collapse of communism in the Soviet Union, a lot of uranium came onto the black market. You probably know that. 84, and I read this somewhere, don't know how accurate it is, it's close, but I want to believe it. 84 one-kiloton suitcase-sized nuclear bombs are missing in Russia. 84 one-ton suitcase-sized nuclear bombs are missing. So it's just a matter of time before the arms dealers are selling suitcase bombs to any private party. That's when the real fun comes. The mafia will get a bomb, Hell's Angels, Colombian drug gangs, the Shriners, Kiwanis Club, YMCA. I don't even want to think about designer bombs. The Gucci bomb. Maybe we ought to just leave it at that. Now, he said, with a certain amount of anticipation. This is the suites that I was talking about. You know, it's kind of like, in a way, I don't want to flatter myself. It's kind of like a composer with a symphony which has different movements. These are all separate and they stand alone, but they're kind of under the same umbrella. Swearing on the Bible. Now, this is something I really don't understand. I just want you to listen to the logic. There's a certain amount of logic in these things. You may not agree with them, but what the fuck? I don't, and I will have to read these. I can't paraphrase them like I did some of that. This is something I don't understand. Swearing on the Bible. Do you understand that? Excuse me. I don't remember eating that. Swearing on the Bible. In a courtroom, when they swear you in as a witness, they hold it. Yeah, they swear you as a witness. They hold out a Bible. They tell you to raise your right hand and place your left hand on the Bible. Does this really matter? Does it matter which hand you use? left hand, right hand. Does God really give a shit? Suppose you switched it around and you put your right hand on the Bible and raise your left hand. Would it count? Or would God say, sorry, wrong hand, try again? And why does one hand have to be raised? Why does your hand have to be up in the air? Suppose you put one hand on the Bible and you let the other one hang down by your side. Would it count? Or you put one hand in your pocket. Your mother always said, don't put your hands in your pockets. Was she onto something? Does this hand stuff really mean anything? I don't understand the whole raising your hand thing. The Boy Scouts do that too, when they recite the Boy Scout oath. They raise their right hands. They raise their right hands, not the left. Now, the chord is the left. Boy Scouts go with the right hand. And they don't use the Bible either. Still, they call it an oath. So what the fuck's going on? I think someone's jerking me off. So let's get back to the Bible you swear on in a courtroom. Suppose they hand it to you and it's upside down. Or backwards. Or both. Suppose they hand it to you an upside down backward Bible and you swear on it. Does it count? Suppose all they have is a really old Bible with half the pages missing. Does it count? Suppose the only Bible they have is printed in a foreign language. It's a Chinese Bible in an American court. Does it count? Suppose it's a Braille Bible and you're not blind. How about that? Suppose they hand you an upside down backward Chinese Braille Bible with half the pages missing. At what point does all this stuff break down and become just a lot of stupid shit that somebody made up? Why would it have to be a Bible in the first place? Wouldn't it make more sense to swear on a law book?
Yeah.
Or a dictionary? A dictionary open to the word truth? Okay, forget the Bible. There's a more basic question here. What is this big deal about swearing to God in the first place? I don't understand that shit. Why would swearing to God mean that something you say is believable? It wouldn't affect me. They said to me, do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? You know what I'd say? Sure. Actually, I would say, I'll tell you about as much truth as the people who wrote this Bible. Swearing to God doesn't mean anything. I remember when I was a kid, if I told another kid something he didn't believe, he would say, you swear to God? And I would say, I swear to God. Even if I was lying. I would swear to God. Why not? Why would I give a shit? What's going to happen if I lie? Nothing. Nothing happens. At all. It's exactly the same as you never mentioned God at all. Nothing happens if you lie. Unless you get caught, that's a different story. Sometimes a kid would think he's being slick, you know? And he'd say, you swear on your mother's grave? And I would say, sure. First of all, my mother didn't even have a grave. She was alive. And even if she'd been dead, what's the big deal about swearing on her grave? Is it going to open? Is she going to rise from the dead and come and get me? Because I told a lie. You know what I would say sometimes? I would say to a kid, I swear on my mother's tits. Kids are impressed with things like that. I mean, I didn't give a shit about my mother's tits either. You know? I don't care if they fell off. It doesn't mean anything. Swearing on the Bible doesn't mean anything either. Bible or no Bible, God or no God, people lie in court. The police lie in court all the time. Oh, it's the basis for most prosecutions. And if you catch them lying, you know, people are going to lie. If it suits their purpose, it doesn't matter whether it's a policeman or not, they're going to fucking lie. And if you catch them lying, then you can charge them with perjury. So why not let it go at that? Keep a record of the person's testimony, check it against the facts, and if they lie, punish them. But swearing to God doesn't mean anything. None of that shit means anything. Tits, graves, Bibles, God. You can swear on anything you want. It's meaningless. It's just more superstitious bullshit holding us back. Now, here's another thing. I can go with that or not, thank you. There's another thing I don't understand. If you're watching a parade and a flag is passing by, you're supposed to take off your hat. Or during the national anthem, they tell you to take off your hat. I don't understand that. What does a hat have to do with patriotism? How does taking off your hat make you more patriotic? Suppose you have a hat that's red, white, and blue. A hat that's actually made out of a flag. A flag hat. Wouldn't it be more patriotic to leave it on? If you have a hat that's made out of a flag, why would you want to take it off to honor the flag? Wouldn't you leave it on to honor the flag? I think you would take it off if you want to honor the hat. Why is it always hats? What's so bad about hats? You have to take them off. Why not take off your pants? Or your shoes. They do that at the airport. Tell you to take off your shoes. And it's called national security. So taking off your shoes can be patriotic too. I remember a lot of this same kind of fixation on hats from when I was a Catholic kid. I was born a Catholic. I remained that way until I reached the age of reason. But when I was a kid, I did this. Some of you might remember this, some of you might know this. I don't know what they do now. They change the rules every fucking 30 days. Nothing's universal and eternal anymore. They said when I was a kid that if a man went into church, he had to take off his hat to show respect for the presence of God. But they also said that God was everywhere. So I wondered, if God is everywhere, why wear a hat at all? Show your respect. Don't even own a hat. Something else from when I was a kid. They said that a woman who entered a church had to put her hat on. All right? Exactly the opposite. Women had to cover their heads, even if it was just a hanky, with a bobby pin. That's really true. A lot of women did that. They could even use a Kleenex if they wanted to. Although probably not used. Religious people seem to be awfully big on hats. You notice that Jews wear little hats, Hindus wear turbans, Sikhs have big, tall, white turbans, Catholic bishops have big, pointy hats, Catholic cardinals have red skull caps, popes have white skull caps. Everybody's got a fucking hat. What is this religious fascination with hats? On or off? One group puts them on, one group takes them off. What's going on? Personally, I wouldn't want to be a member of any group where you either can't wear a hat or you have to wear a hat. Just a postscript here. The Army says a soldier has to take off his hat when he goes indoors. Do you know that? The soldier goes indoors, he has to take off his hat. Why is that? I don't understand that. It sounds superstitious to me, like placing your hand over your heart during the Pledge of Allegiance. What does placing your hand over your heart have to do with anything? By now, we know the heart is not the seat of emotions. The brain is. So why not cover your head? By leaving your hat on. Some guys, when the flag is passing by, they play it safe by doing both things. They take off their hat and they place it over their heart. I don't understand this shit. You see that I'm coming to all this from an honest place? Now, more shit I don't understand. I want to stay on the flag for a minute. And by the way, I don't intend any disrespect. I really don't. People can do what they want, believe what they want. I don't give a shit. I'm just trying to understand things. Here's what I don't understand. These people who put American flags on their cars. What is that shit about? Can anyone explain to me what a flag on your car is supposed to mean? Is it supposed to show that you're on our side? Or can't we just sort of assume that? I mean, I can understand a flag on a post office or on City Hall or on a state capitol. What's it doing on a fucking car? What does a Toyota Corolla have anything to do with the American flag? I can't think what all this shit is about. I think Americans are just flag happy. It makes a certain amount of sense that an Arab American would put an American flag on his car. Or a Syrian, an Egyptian, an Iranian, any dark-skinned person who's just trying to protect himself from patriotic Americans that want to beat the shit out of him. But why would someone who's obviously an American, a blonde, blue-eyed white guy, put a flag on his car? Is it some kind of secret code? But it's true. Every time we start a war for no reason and we attack, bomb, and loot some country, everybody in America gets all patriotic, and out come the car flags. They go on the fenders, on the bumpers, in the rear windows, on the side windows. Anytime there's a good chance we'll be shooting babies somewhere, out come the fucking flags. Get the flags out. We're killing people. Get the flags out. And I don't understand this shit. Think about this. George Washington rode all around the country on a horse. Did he put a flag on it? No. George Washington didn't need to put a flag on his horse because he knew in his heart he was doing the right thing. He had no doubts. Jefferson, Adams, Madison, no flags. They didn't need an artificial symbol. They knew they were doing the right thing. Abe Lincoln wore a big stovepipe hat on his head. Guess what? No flag. Big hat, no flag. Lots of room for a flag. He could have put 10 flags on that fucking hat. But Lincoln didn't need a flag because he knew he was doing the right thing. Patriotism is in the mind and in the heart. It shouldn't require visible evidence in the window of your car. Driving around with a flag is nothing more than nationalist exhibitionism. I call them automotive patriots. Some people say, well, it's a way of showing that you love your country. Well, why would you need to show? Isn't that enough just to do it? Isn't that enough just to love your country and act accordingly? Why do you have to show everybody? What's the big display? Is it because these people have some doubts? And these doubts need a little booster shot? To me, the whole flag waving thing is typical American showboating, knee-jerk nationalism. But personally, I think it's compensation. I think some people have to compensate because deep down, they know this country lacks something. Something it used to have. Substance. So they make themselves feel better by displaying a piece of cloth. You have to remember what a flag is. It's a marketing tool. Like the NBC peacock and the Nike swoosh. The flag is our national logo. So it's a symbol, but there's nothing special about it. Please. Nothing special about any flag. I'm not talking about us alone. Nothing special about any flag. Flags are a dime a dozen. Everybody's got a flag. Everybody's got a fucking flag. Every country has a flag. Every state has a flag. Some cities, a lot of cities have flags. The United Nations has a flag. The Red Cross has a flag. Pirates had fucking flags. I once knew of a bowling alley that had its own flag. And they went out of business. Even the Confederacy still has a flag. And they went out of business 140 years ago. Of course, most of them don't know that, so they still fly. But it's pointless. It don't mean nothing. And it never did, okay? Anybody can have a flag. All you need is a pillowcase and a magic marker. Bam, you got yourself a flag. You know where I found that out? Bernie's Flag Shop. Bernie's Flag Shop. Come with me and let's go in and say hello to Bernie. Hi, how you doing? I'm Bernie. Welcome to my flag shop, Bernie's Flags and Rags. My slogan, if no one salutes, you get your money back. So you're in the market for a flag. Well, I'm going to fix you up with something nice. What are you looking for? We got stars, we got stripes, we got stars and stripes. In a stripe, I can get you a nice vertical or a lovely horizontal. You can mix and match. Go with vertical and horizontal. I don't recommend it. Too busy. I also have diagonal. This season, nobody is going with diagonal. Okay, never mind stripes. Maybe you want to go with stars? Stars are a very popular item, but you got to handle stars just right. There's a lot of ways to go. One big star in the middle. Okay. One big star plus 10 stars all around it in a circle. 19 little stars in a circle with a big star in the middle. What do you want? 50 stars? Forget it. Too busy. How about the sun? You like the sun? What's not to like about the sun? Except melanoma. But a lot of countries got a big sun on their flag. But you have to decide which kind of sun you want, rising or setting. They're very similar. Actually, if you handle it right, nobody knows which one you want. Drives them crazy at the UN. As long as we're talking about heavenly bodies, here's one item you might want to be thinking about. Crescent moon. Ah, crescent moon, very hot item. Can't keep them on the shelf. A lot of your top Muslim countries are snapping them up like crazy. You go with a crescent moon, you throw in a couple of stars, you got yourself a pretty decent little flag. But I'll give you anything you want. So, what do you want? Well, let me get this straight. You want a hammer and a sickle. A hammer and sickle. It's been done. Soviet Union had it for years. Didn't work. The place folded. You don't want to go with a losing design. Forget the hammer and sickle, but as long as you're into tools, may I suggest a Phillips head screwdriver. Or a nail gun. A nail gun. Power, energy. Okay, forget tools. Let's go with animals. How about a nice big eagle? Or a lion. Lion is great. Symbol of power. England had a lion for years. Wait a minute, I think I got it. How about a lion fucking an eagle? Okay, here's another idea. It's a little offbeat. A monkey. No one's got a monkey. Huh? A flag with a nice big monkey. A monkey in a blue hat. Tell you what, 19 stars in a circle, in the middle, a monkey with a blue hat. Fucking an eagle. Okay, how about an eagle with 19 monkeys in a circle taking turns fucking the eagle? And all of it takes place inside a big blue hat. Okay, try this. 18 monkeys and on 2 frogs and a cowboy. Huh? You like it? I know, too busy. Okay, let's try this. This is perfect. It's so simple, it's eloquent. You ready? A grilled cheese sandwich. Come on. A big red, white, and blue grilled cheese sandwich? Okay, a monkey and an eagle eating a grilled cheese sandwich. I'm fucking a lion. I'm getting the feeling you want to go with the stars and stripes. Okay, that's fine, stars and stripes it is, but I got a little variation for you, okay? On every other stripe, you said you want 13, right? On every other stripe, you put corporate logos. Little corporate logos. Pepsi, IBM, McDonald's. That's on the stripes. On the stars, here's what we could do. Inside each star, a dollar sign. Or we can just shit can the stars completely and just go with the dollar signs. 50 of them, perfect symbolism. $50 signs. And maybe every other star has a dollar sign and the ones in between have a picture of Jesus. Get back to me on this, will you? Bernie's flagship, Bernie is a flag. Okay. Here's another thing I don't understand. People who say, God bless America. Politicians say it at the end of every speech. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. God bless you, and God bless America. I guess they think if they leave it out, someone's going to think they're a bad American. God bless America. Why do they have to keep repeating it? Doesn't it last? Does it run out like a parking meter? Over and over. God bless America. God bless America. Does God really need constant reminders? Frequent pep talks? Does he have an attention disorder? Why doesn't God just write himself a note? Things to do, bless America. Let me tell you something about God. He doesn't give any more of a shit about America than he does Denmark, Mexico, Fiji, Israel, Greenwich Village, Disneyland, or the Suez Canal. Doesn't give a fuck. Doesn't give a fuck. There are 200 countries in this world. Do you think God is sitting around picking out his favorites? Why would he do that? Why would he favor one country over all the others? Why would he favor America? Because he likes the way we dress? By the way, Americans aren't alone on this. People all over the world are convinced God is on their side. Americans pray to God to help us destroy our enemies. Meanwhile, our enemies are praying that God will destroy us. Somebody's going to be disappointed. Somebody isn't going to get what they want. Somebody is wasting their time. Could it be everybody? God does not take sides. All those Texas high school football fans, every Friday night before the games, they pray out loud in the stands for their teams to win. They're wasting their time. Half of them always lose. I love that. Half of them, every week, God forces half of them to experience the bitter taste of defeat. Some teams don't win one game all year long, and they keep on praying. No learning curve. I don't mind people saying about God bless America, that's their business, but what I don't understand is why you would want to limit God's blessings to America alone. I was always told God loved everyone equally. That's what he told us to do, love everyone. Why would you want God to go against his own instructions? When we're asking God to bless things, why don't we just include some of these people we hate because they pray to a different God? Maybe if we ask God to bless them too, they'd change their ways. I mean, if all that stuff about God is so being powerful is true, why not get him to change Al-Qaeda? He ought to be able to do that. If he's so powerful, change Al-Qaeda. Why should we keep God's blessings all to ourselves? In fact, why don't all these God bless people just get it over with once and for all and say, God bless everyone all over the world all the time, forever and ever. You know? They ought to check with that Jesus fellow they're so loud about. That's what he would say. You know what Jesus would say? God bless everyone all over the world all the time, forever and ever. Could it be that God bless America is just a saying? Huh? A slogan with no real meaning at all, except maybe something vague like, good luck. That all really means good luck, America. Do the best you can. Here's something I don't understand. Like, a lot of Americans think they live in a nation of laws. You ever hear that shit? They feed you that. That's part of the official bullshit story they feed you when you're a kid. They talk about the rule of law. But when you think about it, it's not really a rule of law. It's a rule of force. Because if you don't obey the law, uniformed men with badges and guns come to your house and take you away. It's called being arrested. And if you resist arrest, the men with the badges and guns use force. They force you to come with them. That's why it's called law enforcement. Because behind the law, there's a threat of force. And force is just a nicer word for violence. So technically the law is backed by an implicit threat of violence. We're not a nation of laws, we're a nation of violence, which everybody knows just by looking at the TV and the movies. Violence is used to control violence. Clubs, guns, tear gas, and attack dogs. That's how they control violence. It's similar to the death penalty. The government says the best way to teach people not to kill people is to kill people. The truly American solution. I don't get the idea that I care about the death penalty. I don't. One way or another, as far as I'm concerned, you people can kill each other all you want, and you'll get no argument from me. In my universe, the less people they are, the happier I get. By the way, speaking of killing people, here's a sidebar. Sometimes the uniformed men with badges and guns come to your house and they don't take you away. They kill you right in your house. You could say they made a house call. You know who specializes in house calls? The DEA, Drug Enforcement Agency. Because sometimes these assholes go to the wrong house, they break down the door, and they kill the wrong people. And they're never punished for this. Never, because the law doesn't apply to them. So therefore, I don't think the law applies to me either. Actually, I don't even consider them laws. I think of them as guidelines, suggestions. Here's how the law ought to be written. Folks, this is just a suggestion, but we'd really like for you not to kill each other. If you think you could go along with this, we'd really appreciate it. Personally, I don't think laws are legally binding. They're interesting. They keep the lawyers busy, but they're not for me. They're for other people. They don't apply to my reality. And a lot of laws are just inconvenient. So I ignore them. I say, fuck laws and rules and regulations. Now, some people are quick to say, oh, well, all of you celebrities think you're above the law. Well, that's not true. First of all, it has nothing to do with being a celebrity. I felt this way when I was 14. Okay? I was 14 and I already knew this country was bullshitting me about a lot of things. And second, I don't consider myself above the law. I consider myself beyond the law. Beyond the law is different. It's a spiritual thing. Every now and then I run into one of these half-wits who says, well, suppose everybody thought like you do. And I said, well, everybody doesn't think like I do they? So it's a dumb fucking question. But I'll tell you this, if everyone did think like me, this country would be a lot more fun. Summing up, remember this, folks, the people who enforce and prosecute the law refer to themselves as the justice system. But they forget law and justice are not the same thing. They are not the same ever, anywhere. Don't be bullshitted. Clarence Darrow, the famous lawyer, said, there is no justice in or out of court. I rest my case. I rest my case. Thank you. I know this shit seems a little preachy to me, but when it's memorized and trimmed just a little bit, and I'm doing it in a large theater, they won't know what the fuck went on. A lot of these superstitious beliefs, like law and justice, they grow out of another thing I don't understand, the thing people call rights. Yeah, people tell you they have rights. You hear them yammering all the time. I know my rights. I have a right to do this. You have no right to do that. The public has a right to know. Well, I hate to spoil the party, folks. But actually, there's no such thing as rights. They don't exist. It's something we made up. It's an idea, an invention, like the yo-yo. Like the hula hoop, Viagra, and dollar-sized pancakes. It's an invention. Having rights is a cute idea, but that's about all it is. Cute and fictional. And if you don't believe me, if you think we do have rights, let me ask you this. Who gave us these rights? Where'd they come from? People say they came from God. They call them God-given rights. Here we go with the God excuse. It came from God. This idea that things come from God is the last refuge of a man with no argument and no answers. Personally, I believe that if your rights came from God, he would have given you the right to some food every day and a roof over your fucking head. God would have been looking out for you. He wouldn't have been worrying about giving you the right to carry a fucking gun. But okay, fine. Let's concede. Let's say God gave us these rights. Why would he give you a particular number of rights? The Bill of Rights in this country has 10 stipulations in it, okay? Basically, we have 10 rights. God gave Americans 10 rights, but he gave the British 13. The British Bill of Rights has 13 stipulations. The Belgians have 25. The Germans have 29. The Swedish only have 6. And in some places, people have no rights at all. None. So what happened here? What kind of a God-given deal is that shit? Why would God give different people, different countries, different numbers of different rights? Why would he do that? Boredom? Amusement? Bad attitude? Bad arithmetic? After all this time, do we finally find out God is bad at math? Doesn't sound like divine planning to me. Sounds more like human planning. Sounds like one group of people trying to control another group of people. In other words, business as usual. There are no rights, folks. You don't have rights. If you think you have rights, you should talk to the Japanese American citizens who thought they had rights in 1941. 600,000 Japanese and Italian American citizens. All of them were Americans, but their parents came from the wrong country, so they lost their rights and were placed in detention camps. No due process, no right to a lawyer, no jury of their peers. Their only right into the camps. Just when these people needed their rights, the government took them away. And rights aren't rights if someone can take them away. You know why they do it? Because they know they can get away with it. They know Americans are passive, obedient, and asleep. You give an American a cell phone, a laptop, a barbecue grill, and a gun, he'll pretty much shut up and do whatever the fuck he wants. That's all it is. So your rights are not God-given because human beings can take them away. And if they can be taken away, they're not rights, they're privileges. Temporary privileges, like watching television on a school night. You don't have a Bill of Rights, you have a bill of temporary privileges. Sooner or later you're going to learn that the American government has no interest in you, or your rights, or your safety. None. It's a big game. The government is interested in one thing, maintaining its power and expanding it wherever possible. Otherwise, it would be spending money on protecting the so-called homeland. Instead, they spend your money on dominating and forcing our sick culture on other countries. You know what I think about rights? You know what I think about rights? Because I'm slightly demented. I think people either have no rights at all, or they have unlimited rights. All or none. Anything in between seems arbitrary to me. Personally, I lean more toward unlimited rights. I think I have a right to do anything I want. Anything I want. But if I do something you don't like, I think you have a right to kill me. Doesn't that sound fair? Sounds like a good deal to me. So next time someone tells you he has a right to his opinion, tell him, well, I have a right to my opinion too, and my opinion is that you have no right to your opinion. Then kill the motherfucker. So you thought you had rights, but you was wrong. All right. Well, thank you. As you can tell, that's a bunch of things that will somehow flow smoothly about a year or so from now.